I really wasn't going to get into this right here, but to hell with it. Anyways, this is going to be a little bit more esoteric, but it won't be hard for you to understand exactly what I'm getting at. And by the way, for my safety and people that I love, and even other parties, I'm not really going to put any names in here, but I'll break this down as best as I can with as much sense as I can make for you to understand where I'm coming from, for you to understand my point. In my community, and I don't even really like talking about it. Growing up, a lot of people were okay with uh, a lot of guys doing things with minors. Like, it's just not something that I feel like my community really takes serious, generally speaking. And a lot of times, while they'll uh, infantilize certain grown men as if they're babies, a woman, a black woman or a black girl always knew what she was doing. She grown, and she always know what the f she doing. You know, she a fast tail girl or whatever. Like, it's been like this as long as I could remember. And there are certain individuals who have been like this for a while, for a few decades. But maybe they got swag. Maybe they became successful, made a lot of money. So a lot of people don't care about, you know, what they used to do or what they could still be doing to this day, even though they're older. And hey, some of them might even be married, right? But I'm bringing all this to the forefront because of something very interesting. And I almost didn't even uh, give this any like water. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I almost didn't give it any attention or any airtime. But it was a entertainer, a black male entertainer who basically, in a few short words, and I'm kind of like summing it up. I'm not gonna say word for word. Was like, oh well, I see some of y'all was quick to come to the aid of this non-black white guy who had these allegations from 2017 uh, about being, inappropriate with underage girls. Meanwhile, you see a successful brother going through something that was completely fake, and everybody's quiet. It was something along the lines of that. And I think I know what they were getting at. A few things I wanna break down. If you got somebody that you feel is on your heels, they have way more power and influence and money than you, so they have that advantage. Uh, I mean, for the most part, they're very beloved, and you know what I'm saying, like, they're known globally. Um, let's just say that it was something that you probably didn't like about them, or the way they did business or whatever. You thought was kind of biased, but you have decided a while back to not bring up anything that can be deemed unsavory, immoral, illegal, whatever. You decided a long time ago that you're not even gonna, you know what I'm saying, speak on people. You're gonna give them their space or whatever. And uh when you going through the motions and you don't have certain privileges anymore, they take the opportunity to hop on your hate campaign back bandwagon. And they have made something that really didn't have anything to do with them very personal. but it's not for the reasons that the general public might think it is, because they really think you're just an awful person. But it's more so they can't get over something that you might have spoken on, or you might have knowledge about, that could make them, uh, could paint them in a very unsavory, immoral manner. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that you know about that they don't respect, or they don't like the fact that you know about it, or worse, you maybe spoke about certain things in public settings. And on the flip side, you have another man of a lot of power and privilege, and a little bit of money, and they are in the business of politics, let's just say. Um, and while they're probably not even really fond of black people like that, right? Because they are, part of the dominant society, they probably, call a lot of shots, right? You know that, but you also know that certain people who may have a disdain for you and a personal vendetta against you answer to men like that. We exist in a white male patriarchy. It is what it is. It is what it is. That's what America is. It is what it is. So let's just say, if you had to choose between who to either forgive or to support, you know what I'm saying? For whatever the reason may be, right? Would you choose anybody who is working vehemently to bring you down and keep you out of the good graces of very powerful men who if we're gonna keep it real, they can decide who lives and who dies, right? Or they can decide who lives in peace and harmony. These are men who can, they are powerful, so they can dictate what you hear about people in the media and what you don't hear about, because they have that much power, they have that much privilege, right? Meanwhile, certain people that have it in for you, they may also be the same color as you. You know that they have gotten away with a whole lot of terrible things. They have the love of a lot of black people. They have the love and so much so, and maybe because they also are a man, it's even more easier for certain people within your community who probably are really against you, to like forgive their transgressions, and even like not even speak on anything that actually went down, but it might put them in a bad light, right? So you got a couple individuals, but maybe they both have similar issues. They may have similar allegations. It's just that one is not black. Let's just say, if you wanted to get into certain circles with people, for whatever the reason may be, are you going to go with the one that's trying to go to war with you? That at the end of the day, like, they got privilege to a certain degree, but they still answer to a non-black man? Or would you side with, or would you go to, the non-black man with the not so great reputation, excuse me, but who probably could hypothetically use his privilege to grant you the same type of like passes that certain black people have been getting from similar types of non-black men? over the years. But in this particular case, with a person who, have allegations from 2017, who is not black, and it's alleged that the individual, one of the individuals was at least 17, right? I personally wouldn't stand to gain anything. So I'm thinking to myself, when I saw what I saw on Twitter, I know the message can't be directed at me, because it basically is insinuating that I'm caping for somebody like that. But also I'm caping, and I'm caping on some Uncle Tom type of energy for this non-black individual with that type of history. All because, like I said before, nothing that's done and said in this house stays in this house. I have no privacy. But I was saying, and I might have said it in a previous video that I already uploaded on YouTube. I've said it a few times. And it's not even me caping, but it's the truth. I don't think certain people should have walked away from that attorney general position when you think about the fact that a lot of the Democrats who were calling this individual out and criticizing them cannot account for over 300,000 migrant children. Some are saying it's more than 400,000. They've been letting strange and interesting people into classrooms of very small children to read very, very, sexually explicit books to young children. And some of the books have very pornographic illustrations. And personally, I think it's extremely inappropriate to do things like that with young children. On top of that, a lot of Dems support mutilating or changing, the genitalia of minors. And in a lot of Democratic states, they have started the process a couple years ago of lowering the age of consent, including in my home state in New Jersey. So the last time I checked, I think they knocked it down from 18 to 16. So with all of that, why step away from that position? But we're talking about people that want passes for whatever trash behavior they may have indulged in, that because of their power and privilege or influence, a lot of people may not be privy to, or it usually is swept under the rug. So they want all these passes, but they don't think somebody else should get it, and is actively working to do everything that they can to ruin somebody else because of whatever controversy they may be dealing with, whether it's true or not, right? Would you really try to endorse somebody like that, or side with them, or be down with them? Especially when you know that a lot of people that look like you don't even care what they do, especially if it's like something that harms a female from this community. They don't even care what they do. Would you side with them? Let's say if you had to choose, or would you side with the non-black individual who has some shady, allegations or whatever, but because of their power and privilege and race and color, they get to dictate who gets what and what happens to who? Also, that powerful individuals who happen to be black, they have to also answer to men like that, men who do not look like them. And I said this other day on IG. Let's just say if you're a black woman that ain't perfect, but somewhere back in the day along the lines, you decided to get involved in activism. You became a whistleblower, historically, the powers that be just They got a thing for deleting black heroes. It is what it is. It is what it is. But let's just say if you don't have the sweetest background on the planet, right? What you might want to do is something that's unorthodox. So if a lot of black people are moving away in a way that is not conducive for a positive, safe environment for your demographic, which in this case will be black females. If a lot of them support trash behavior, you gotta be quiet. Or you gotta act like you support it too. If a lot of them are okay with the certain brothers with non-black, teaming up with non-black domestic terrorists who harass and threaten and maybe occasionally delete black females outside of YouTube. If most black people are okay with stuff like that and they don't mind sweeping on the rug, you either gotta be okay with it or you gotta be quiet. You gotta look like you okay with it or you gotta be quiet. If a lot of black people think that you know what I'm saying, that certain types of black women don't deserve certain opportunities in the entertainment industry, you either gotta act like you down with that or you gotta be quiet. It won't help you if you try to go against the grain and do anything unorthodox, and then later on, well, you gotta deal with these people, and a lot of them don't mind teaming up to help to help ruin you, whatever you got left, whatever you got going on, whether it be harassing you at the hospital when you go, you know what I'm saying? They'll overlook whatever the brothers did that was negative. They'll baby them and infantilize them like they didn't know. They didn't have no self-control. They didn't know what was doing. And you waved a magical wand and you put some type of spell on them and made them do something that was I'm letting you know. These are the mistakes that I made. If you're in a room full of black people, if it's mostly brothers or all brothers, if a lot of them is, you know, behave in a way that's not really woke, you gotta be quiet or you gotta get with the program. You gotta blend in. The last thing you need to do is try to stand out when you don't really have any allies. You don't want to stand out and be talking about certain types of black females having to go to men that are not black for protection. You don't want to try to stand out and speak on people messing around with the fast, terror black girls, usually in the ghetto. Usually the friends and family sweep it under the rug. You know what I'm saying? Call her hot, call her grown, call her. You don't want to do that when most black people is not on that type of energy. It'll put you at a greater disadvantage. But your best bet before it's too late, yeah, get on board with white and powerful Jewish men or whatever. Because let me tell you something, and this is from my observation. This is what I'm actually seeing and things that I've seen, right? It don't matter what certain brothers' reputation is. It don't matter about they transgressions, they sometimes criminal backgrounds, none of that. To most. I often forget that as a black female, you know, black females are held to higher standards. Black females are held to higher standards. You're gonna have to get on board with people that don't look like you, but you can't. You know the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. You can't make the mistake of looking back once you get on board. When you decide that you want to jump ship and get on board, and you want protection, you want people to like get off your back and leave you alone, and you want to be protected. You can't then turn around and start trying to defend other black people if that's what the powers that be do not want you to do. Like if the condition is they'll protect you and let you and your family live in peace and harmony, and under the condition that you don't help other folks, well, you gotta agree to those terms and conditions. You gotta keep it that way. It's grimy people out here. You know what I'm saying? They have done terrible things intentionally, but unlike but see, unlike me, they got they got money galore. They got money. They got a lot of power, privilege. It's also what makes them even that much more dangerous. Because when you got a whole lot, sometimes money could be a dangerous thing. A lot of people that's siding with these people, they don't really have integrity like that either. They just blinded by the glitz and the glam and the money. Once again, if they did, they would really, really keep it a buck. They would really, really keep it 100 about things that's been going on for almost 40 years with certain faves. They're not going to do that, though. They're not going to do it. It would be counterproductive for the agenda. I am not the enemy of black people. And I'm tired right now. It's not even just a physical thing. I'm tired, but I'm tired for the people that I love, people that's related to me, people in my community, good people. But I was thinking, hypothetically, if I was defending this white man who no longer is trying to seek this position, it would make more sense for me to do that for everything I just stated a few minutes ago. Some of the same brothers who got this weird obsession with taking me down after I've backed off of them. Don't talk about them. Don't play anything that's related to them. If it's a song, a movie, like it's not enough that I laid off people. If I had to choose, if I had to make a choice, I'm gonna go to the same type of man that these brothers is going to, would help them cover up they grimy transgressions. They grimy, immoral, and or illegal acts. Regardless of your of what your bank account look like. If you're black, like everybody, you know what I'm saying? You see, they're still in control. The dominant society is still in control. Whether a black person is rich or poor. It's the only reason why certain people is in these people's good graces.